Hello and welcome. In this match I am in the new tier 5 German battleship, the König. The König means king in German, and that's where the title of the video comes from, you know, a king rules. Yeah, please clap. Okay, now that that's over, I had to do it. The König feels fine. In many ways she fits nicely between the New York and the Kongou and the things she has. She feels fairly armored because even in tier 7 matches that I've had, I've been doing decently. Like, I've had Nagata shoot me and, well, not citadel me even when I was not very well angled at the time. So she feels decent to play. The guns are okay. There's 5 of them. Sorry, there's 5 turrets, so 10 guns. Which is a bit different from the higher tier German battleships because until the Kurfürst they have a maximum of 8 and 6 on the Gneisenau, so she just feels okay. Her gun caliber is lower though, so that's quite a bit of an issue when you're fighting higher tier ships, but usually it's not that big of a deal because well, most of the time you're not going to be fighting Nagatos or Colorados, so you can probably penetrate from angles, because most of the things you'll be fighting are like Königsbergs and stuff, which are made out of, well, I don't know. I think if I say that they are made out of paper, I think that's talking shit to paper, because they are armored even worse than that. What the König has is decent secondaries for a tier 5 ship, but unfortunately because it's lower than tier 6, so the manual secondary skill doesn't actually help. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm using these modules and these commander skills that will show up after that, and I am doing some tactical beaching. This is all on purpose. Trust me, it's all on purpose. Okay, it really isn't. I wanted to run away from that Nicholas, but unfortunately I somehow managed to beach myself. By the way, look at how I am. Look at where my ship is, and this is apparently being beached. I don't understand. There's plenty of water, but apparently this is one of the areas of the map that is still fairly realistic, as they say, so that, you know, there's actually things underwater, so that you can actually run aground without hitting an island straight on. So, basically she's okay at dealing with tier 5 cruisers. Remember that most tier 5 ships aren't very strong except the destroyers. Destroyers are nuts below tier 5. And I feel like that's one of the big reasons why essentially no tier 5 or lower battleship is going to be very good. Because, well, destroyers are just so much better. The gun angles they can fire at seem decent, much better than on the Kaiser, and well, that's useful also. I'm very sorry. I guess I must have forgotten to change back to the German voice and left it on Ashigara. Hope you can forgive me. The nice thing with her is that because she's lower caliber, because she's at tier 5, lower caliber isn't that big of a deal because many of the tier 5 and lower cruisers, or cruisers that you will meet, are very poorly angled. So if the cruiser angles, very poorly armored. So if the cruiser angles, it makes really no difference most of the time. On top of that, you get to fight Myogis, which is always nice because it's like the worst performing tier 4 ship. Although, I guess... No, the Kaiser is definitely better. But yeah, destroyers are annoying because your torpedo belt isn't very powerful, although it's a bit comparable to other tier 5 battleships, I think. So, I've talked about pretty much everything. I find that she's an okay tier 5 ship. I think that I would even play her over the New York, but probably not over the Kongou. I just really like the Kongou speed. Oh, she's also faster than the New York, and unlike the New York has 1.8 second reload, the König is 2.3. So that means that the König can do, you know, she shoots much more often. But again, lower caliber guns, which means less penetrative power, etc, etc. I mean, she isn't all that special though. She doesn't get a plane. She gets some decent heals, normal damage control. Sorry, normal heals, normal damage control party. Her penetration power isn't off the charts. Her armor is decent, so she is just an okay ship. I would pick her over the New York. I don't know about the Texas, because the Texas has some ridiculous anti-air, and the König definitely doesn't. She has it more comparable to the New York. Her secondaries are better, but she is tier 5, so the manual secondary skill doesn't really make much of a difference. Her secondaries are 4.5 kilometers, but if you notice, I shoot many shells in this game, and I get decent penetrations for decent damage. I don't get overpens almost at all. That's something interesting that I've noticed with when playing these lower tier German battleships. Because when you fire these higher caliber guns, you often just get overpens, right? But apparently, with these guns, I don't know if my aim is better or if I get luckier, I don't seem to get as many overpens. And I guess that's rather pleasant when playing the game. Although it could also be because of the armor scheme that the other ships that I shoot at have. Because at higher tier there are more all or nothing loadouts. But oh my god, that cell would just hurt a lot. 11,000 damage at tier 5. That's an impressive salvo. But it's still a Mayogi, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. So next I'm gonna go fight that here. She's at 54,000 HP. I am at 21,000 HP. Well, maybe I'll get to like 22.5? No, 23 even. Okay, 23,000 HP. He is at 54. So he has 31,000 HP over me. Let's fight. So I'm gonna just sail straight here, and hopefully I'll meet the Kongou. I'm rather confident that I can take her, at least, or at least deal enough damage so that the Kongou, you know, doesn't actually get away with much HP and then gets finished off by an ally soon enough. One thing the König does lack is the Kongou is a bit special at tier 5. She, for some reason, has 25mm aft and rear armor, bow and rear armor. This, or front and rear, I don't know, whatever. Bow and aft armor, you know, the ones at the front and the ones at the back. She has 25mm of this. Usually you get this at higher tiers like tier 6 and 7, but for some reason the Kongou gets it at tier 5. The König doesn't get it, and the New York doesn't get it either, so I imagine the Texas also doesn't get it, although I didn't look that one up. But what I do really like is the 2.3 second reload on these guns. They don't overpen as much, they also don't pen as much, but the reload is nice because you get to shoot more. So now I'm gonna be in the secondary range of the Hie. I obviously select him for, you know, secondary fire so that the secondaries do open up and are a tiny bit more accurate if you select the target. I think the Hie is making a huge mistake, because if I get to ram her, I am going to ram her. Like, first of all, she's opening up her broadside, and that's a mistake. Second of all, she fired HE, that's a mistake. And third of all, she's gonna get rammed. How do you get rammed as a 30-knot battleship by a 24-knot battleship? Well, unfortunately I don't get any devastating strikes or anything like that, because these ships don't get any of these medals, but as you can imagine, we're gonna win this game. I killed 4 ships, but usually I would have tried for a Kraken and all that stuff, but you know, because we don't get medals, it doesn't matter. Since I can't get anything from the Kraken anyway, or, you know, I don't even get the Kraken. What I say in chat is because, you know, the König is king. And, yeah, she's an okay ship. Apparently she's fine with ramming Hies as well. So, gonna jump to the end of this match. So, match finally ended, and the DD just kept running the entire time. We had to cap out. But, I mean, it was a great tier 5 match. I did 133,000 damage at tier 5. I sank 4 ships, 2 citadel hits only, got 1700 base experience, shot even 1 plane down. I don't know what plane it was, but I shot 1 down. But let's be fair, I really only did like 90,000, something maybe extra if I would have fought the here. The ramming was a large addition here. I did take quite a bit of damage, and let's be fair, I would have been able to take this here, even if I had fought all out, but there's always a chance it hadn't worked out, or it wouldn't work out. So what do I think about the König? Well, I feel like she is an okay tier 5 ship. She looks really decent, although okay, except for one thing. This tower looks really weird in my opinion here, in the middle. Other than that, she looks really good. So, these are my stats with the ship. Of course you have to remember that, you know, when I play these ships, I'm a rather experienced player, and playing tier 5 or lower is pretty much seal clubbing. So, yeah, it's a bit different, especially since I use things like premium consumables, which many of them just don't. And I haven't actually played all that many tier 5 or lower matches. Like, the reason why there are so few of these battles is because I only show you the solo stats because I only played these ships solo. So it's different because you know, otherwise you would probably see some normal more Kongou stats over there, but it is what it is, I guess. Because if you compare division stats, it's a bit different because divisions tend to win a lot more than solo players. I feel like the win ratio is, I don't know, I think that's a statistical oddity. 90% is way too high. Maybe like 70%, that would have been more appropriate. And even the survival ratio on my ship is very weird because I usually don't survive that much. I guess it's the fact that she is only 24 knots, so I can't go kill myself as quickly. As you can see from the damage, the match you saw is rather unusual, 133,000 damage, although it does say that I averaged 77,000 damage. That's not actually the number you should really look at. I think you should expect something like 60,000 out of this, because maybe I just got lucky and had a bunch of very good games. Because if you look at those 40,000 matches, it's quite different and paints a different picture. So, yeah, but I do like the ship. I found her nice because we had some kind of a discussion about it, and someone said the König was terrible. So I tried it, and I thought she was okay because the armor did decently against something like a Nagata, so it wasn't the worst thing to be up tiered, but because of your guns being lower caliber, it's a bit of a trouble. It's a bit of a problem anyway, because if you get up tiered, you can't really fight battleships anymore because your guns are, well, only 305mm, so it is troublesome. So I mean, you literally have like Kawachi caliber guns, but of course everything else isn't as bad. So these are the stats of the ship. She has a bit less HP than New York. Armor is more or less the same, although actually some armor pieces here are better. She's much better armored than the Kongou though. Torpedo protection isn't very good. The secondaries are very good for a tier 5, but tier 5 it's not as great anyway. Range is a tiny bit higher than New York, which actually is her disadvantage because the New York, I believe she gets the range upgrade module. I haven't checked it in a while. So you might actually lose out on the range battle against everything. Her AA is okay, like 66 AA DPS at 4.5 kilometers is good, but it follows the usual German battleship scheme, which is almost all the AAs in the big guns. Maneuverability is good, 24 knot speed, 620 meters turning circle. She is similar to the Bayern in that sense, but honestly I think the Bayern is much better tier for tier. Concealment is what it is, but I mean, these tier battleships just don't have good concealment anyway, and they probably shouldn't even. She has a bunch of upgrades. This upgrade is actually very minor. Oh wait, no it isn't. It's 2.4 knots, that's actually pretty big, but I feel like the range upgrade is something you do want. So yeah, this is the König, and I think she's okay, but you know, the Kongou might still be a bit better because, well, the Kongou is just very, very good. Especially if you use the 16-point ARP captain that you have on an ARP Kongou. And in that case, nobody's going to have a 15-point captain on a König most of the time anyways, so it's a bit of a different thing. So yeah, this is my opinion on her, and I think she's okay. Not very strong, but not very weak either. So anyways, at this point I would like to thank my patrons on Patreon. Let's go with Seboy Mosso. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I see you guys next time.